this call together, call to order the Sparks City Council meeting for Monday, April 12th. With a roll call.
Mayor Lawson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Bybee. Here. Dare.
Here.
Acting City Attorney Dana. Here. City Manager Louthen.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Okay, let's do our invocation. We have leader section. Number here.
Good afternoon, council members, friends, leaders of the community. My name is Taylor Sexton. I'm a pastor here at Sparks, actually just down the road at Lincoln Park Elementary School. Our church gathers. It's just an honor to be here to open us with a word and prayer. I want to say thank you for caring for our city, for working to maintain our city, our way of life, our schools, our parks. Thank you for dreaming of a prosperous future for our city as well. Thank you for caring for the diverse and complex interests of our citizens. That's got to be tough work. Thank you for the energy and the time you put in. I'm a pastor. I don't do much of what they do. I pray. And so I want to pray for us today. Before I pray, I'm also a leader, like many of you in the community. And I want to remind us to set this meeting off straight, what leadership is all about. See, leadership is not about the one or the few leaders, but about the numerous faces and lives that we care for, that stand behind us. Leading, when done correctly, is serving. We're given power in order to protect others, their interests, their voice, their opportunity, not ours. We're given a voice to represent and to protect the concerns of others, not our own. We're given trust by the community to ensure justice, integrity, and goodness rule for all, and leaders lead by example. We are the first to do these things. We're not kings, we're not rulers, but the book of Proverbs was written for leaders. And I wanted to read this proverb. It's 29:4. It says, "By justice a king builds up the land, but he who exacts gifts tears it down." By justice the land is built up. But by showing partiality, by ignoring the voice of those who are calling out, by giving gifts, we corrupt the land by injustice. And so let us, whatever the position we have, city council members, I see police officers, I know organizational leaders and nonprofits are here in this room. Whatever we have, let's take our leadership seriously and let's serve and let's ensure justice and goodness and represent the voices beneath us for the flourishing of our city that we love together. Let me pray for us. God, we thank you for the city in which you've placed each and every one of us, that we call home, Sparks, Nevada. We're proud of it, Lord. We're proud of the culture here, our way of life. We're proud of the diverse people and families. Lord, we're proud of our unique personality. Lord, we're proud of our land and its beauty. We're proud of our city, of our leaders. Lord, we're proud of our teachers. God, we ask for your blessing over all these things. I want to ask today for special wisdom for the leaders before the room, our city council members, Lord. I want to ask for you to give them wisdom, to show no partiality, Lord, to express the voice courageously of the people, Lord, to defend all people. God, I pray that you help them to give the right attention to the diverse and complex issues that are put before them, both the issues of the majority and the issues of the minority, Lord. I pray that they use their power to protect. I pray that they use their influence to build up others, their voice to speak truth and to guide others. Lord, we ask for wisdom so that our city and everyone who is in it would flourish. And everybody said, amen.
Amen.
Okay. Dion, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's move on to public comment, and I got Julie Dool. Is there anyone else in the public wishing to make comments today? Okay.
2021.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. I'm Julie Dool, your Community Relations Manager. I just wanted to briefly introduce our new bilingual comms coordinator that's working part-time for the city, Daphne Ariola Gonzalez. She is helping me with managing our Facebook page in Espanol, translating media releases, doing videos, just all things Spanish related to help us out to reach our residents more effectively. That's it. Yep.
Do you have anything to say, Daphne?
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to be able to connect with the Hispanic-speaking population here for the city of Sparks.
Well, welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nudo. All right, approval of the agenda. Anyone wishing to move anything? Or if not, I'm looking for approval of the agenda. No active agenda items.
It's going to be a day.
My computer's not working.
Because they're able to vote.
Technical difficulty.
That's okay.
I don't have, yeah, I'm not in either.
You want to call Rich back?
Yep.
Uh-oh. We may have to do this in analog.
You can Google it.
Google it. Google it, it'll tell you what it is. Old people use.
There we go. There we go.
It's funny that I was saying last time it was bad. So we're starting out the same.
Kicking it all.
Well, let's not think that, let's think that.
Okay,
Okay, now it's.
I've got a motion. Ms. Vanderwell,
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Mr. Anderson.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Minutes, looking for approval of the minutes. Any additions, corrections? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Bybee?
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council meeting for July 22nd, 2024.
Mr. Dare?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Does your computer go away, Diane?
No,
I've got
I
a,
pushed abstain because I wasn't here.
oh, okay. So it passes 4-1 abstention. Okay? Item 7.1, boards and commissions vacancy announcement. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson. Dion Louthan, your city manager. There are 2 vacancies on the Sparks Building Code Board of Appeals, each for 2-year terms. The first vacancy is for an electrical engineer or electrical contractor, and the second is for a structural civil engineer. Each must have at least 10 years of experience, 5 years being responsible for responsible charge of work. Applications will be accepted until Thursday, August 29th, 2024 at 5 p.m. Persons interested in serving on these committees should complete a community service application online at the city's website, www.cityofsparks.us/getinvolved. Simply complete the application and hit the form and hit submit. Thank you.
All right, thank you. 7.2, a TreeMendous Sparks program. Come on, Julie. And we had the Gerscheiders here today, the owners of Moana Nursery, who are partners in this. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and council members. I'm Julie Dool, your Community Relations Manager. I wanted to just talk to you and the community a little bit about our TreeMendous Sparks program. It's a partnership with Moana Nursery, and I have Bruce and Deanna here from Moana Nursery. The program is a partnership. We have 300 vouchers available for trees to give to community members to plant trees in their yards. It is for Sparks residents only. They do have to show proof of residency in Sparks. We started the program today, and within an hour, all 100 vouchers for the month of August were claimed. So we will have 100 more September 16th available and another 100 available in October the 14th. So 300 total, 100 for each month. So it's very successful. We're really excited about it, but they did go fast today, so that's great news. We will, like I said, they have to show proof of residency to have a voucher, and I thought I'd open it up to Bruce or Deanna if they wanted to mention anything about the program as well.
Well, when you live in the Great Basin, trees become a lot more important than they are in lots of other places. And we're so happy to be able to do this program. It's been wonderful to work with the city of Sparks. So maybe a little different than sometimes when we're working with our two other entities that are close by. But this tree canopy issue is a major issue. And it's shocking that our tree canopy is less than Las Vegas. So we have a long ways to go, and yet I think there's a real opportunity to continue to build the tree canopy, and as a result, that's great for Moana Nursery and 280 employees with our 3 stores, but it's most importantly good for the city of Sparks and the city of Reno and Washoe County also. So we're excited to be able to do this. We've been in business now for way over 50 years, and we have the expertise to make this happen on a more frequent schedule than what we've done. I don't think we have been as active in the Sparks area as we needed to be, and I'm glad to see through the leadership of Deanna and Scott Gescheider, they're both very anxious to be able to try to drive that part of our business. So we do appreciate, but what we really appreciate is how easy it has been to work with you guys. Sometimes that isn't always the case, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, Deanna and I started talking about this back in January and how we're gonna make this all work and come together. This was our test program, because we could do more trees, and we will talk about that after these 300 go and work for next year. But tremendous success when 1 hour,
one
all
hour.
the trees the vouchers were given away.
And at least a third to 2/3 of the people that got a voucher were in the store this morning. So they aren't waiting around.
There's a byproduct then, a little bounce for the business, which is
The only
good.
other thing I would say is that several of the tree selections are pears, and people have a bad feeling about Bradford pears, and they should. But these are not Bradford pears. They're different species. They've been raised completely differently, and so there isn't, I think people talk about a smell. No. They are beautiful pear trees, and especially in the spring. Oh my gosh.
And I just wanted to mention, the vouchers were picked up at 98 Richards Way at our Parks and Recreation office, and then the trees are available only at the Pyramid Way Moana Nursery. So that was just something to clarify. And then if anybody has needs any more additional information, we have a website, cityofsparks.us/TreeMendous Sparks, and you can get all the information there. And like I said, more vouchers will be available September 16th.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. All right, it's Proclamation Secret Witness Day. Mr. Anderson.
Sure.
Do we have someone here from Secret Witness? It's a secret? Okay.
Well, we'll read the proclamation here. Whereas the City of Sparks recognizes the valuable contributions of Secret Witness Program for Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County, hereinafter Secret Witness. And whereas Secret Witness is a private, nonprofit organization of concerned citizens who are dedicated to solving crimes and improving public safety by gathering information from the public that would not otherwise be available. And whereas Secret Witness aids law enforcement in preventing crime by providing a source of information to help law enforcement identify and locate witnesses, suspects, criminals, and fugitives, which helps to reduce crime and make our community safer. And whereas Secret Witness provides a means for the public to communicate information anonymously about criminal and civil offenses and fugitives without the threat of retaliation. And whereas Secret Witness keeps the identities of people who provide this essential information protected and anonymous. And whereas Secret Witness provides rewards to qualified secret witnesses in return for information to promote and encourage the flow of information from the public. And whereas Secret Witness saves the citizens of Sparks several $1,000s each year in police investigation time by supplying crucial tips to solve crimes. And whereas since the inception of 1979, Secret Witness has been a highly beneficial crime-fighting organization helping to solve thousands of crimes, including more than 40 murders in the region. Now therefore, Ed Lawson, Mayor of City of Sparks, do hereby proclaim August 12th, 2024 as Secret Witness Day.
There we go. Okay. All right, let's move on. 7.4 presentation, the Hexagon Unified Computer Aided Dispatch and Records Management Suite Software Replacement Project Update.
Is there a way to make that full screen? Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Good afternoon. Cody Shadle. I'm with the City of Reno, Director of Public Safety Dispatch. I'm also one of the 4 agency coordinators that are assigned to this project that we're going to talk about here. So I was asked to come in today to give you guys an update. Some of you may know we started this project long over a year ago, but we've ratified an agreement and we began working on this project back in January. And I'd like to take a moment to kind of discuss some of the background of what we're doing, how we got to this point, some of the key accomplishments we've already had, and what are we looking forward to in the next year before we actually go live. It's an exciting project. I'm going to have some dry information here, but I do want to convey that it is really exciting. So I am joined today by our other agency representatives from Washoe County, from City of Sparks, from REMSA as well, and our vendor, Hexagon, is actually one of our project managers is in here today with us. Lucky for us, he lives locally, so it's one of the huge advantages we have. So going into the background, some of you may recall this actually began back in the end of 2020 when we started to identify that the system we already have in place was aging out. It was no longer eligible to be supported. And we started looking forward to how do we initiate the process to replace what we call our computer-aided dispatch, or CAD, and our records management software, or RMS. Both are vital to how we provide public safety services in the region. The current system as it stands today is operated by Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County. It is functional, however, as I mentioned, it is aging out. So at that time we explored what was it going to take to start an RFP, what kind of consultants, what kind of resources did we need to put together. We began that process with the help of an outside consultant, Federal Engineering, who's been a huge partner for us, and they continue to help us through implementation. That process was extensive. Some of you may recall from the last presentation over a year ago. We did extensive site visits, we did vendor demonstrations. It took almost a year to get staff from 4 different agencies to contribute and identify that we did find the product that was going to work for us, and it was a unanimous selection. We did select Hexagon's on-call CAD and RMS system. Simultaneously, and not directly related to the project, but it has a huge impact, back in 2022, this board, along with the boards of Reno, Sparks, and Reno and Washoe, came together to identify that there are issues with our 911 system and the way that it's designed. You guys, this body, provided us the direction to say that we need to redesign the 911 system. We need to prioritize the user experience. We need to make sure that the caller has a positive experience, and we need to make sure that we provide resources in a meaningful and reasonable way and an efficient way. We did identify that technologies was one of those obstacles preventing us from achieving those goals. And so this project really is taking on that role of how do we addressing technology, how do we improve this system, and how do we redesign a 911 system that works for us and works for the citizen as a priority. So we took that direction, we moved forward in the replacement project and came up with a governance agreement, which allowed us to say, in the future, how are we going to do this together? How are we going to make sure that it's financially reasonable for everybody that's involved, and how are we going to make sure that there's equal representation from all entities? You know, all of our citizens have slightly different needs. We want to make sure that our voices are heard and that our agencies have that voice. And that's where the governance came from. So that's what happened. Just an oversight on those governance boards. We did create 3 public bodies that oversee this project. One of them is the managers board made up of the City of Reno, City of Sparks, Washoe County managers, as well as the CEO from REMSA. And they provide direct oversight to the entire group. We have an executive board, which is made of our leadership team, which is chiefs and other leadership representatives from either dispatch centers or records departments. They provide a lot of the day-to-day decision-making, and I say day-to-day, they really meet their meeting, once a quarter. And then lastly, we have the change advisory board. This is how they're going to manage any changes to the system. They're the ones tasked with making sure that the system remains safe, resilient, and works for us for a very long time. And this is not a small investment. This body, as well as the other agencies, have committed to investing a lot of resources and time and money into this, and we need to make sure that it lasts for a long time and that it works for us, and that's kind of what the change management group is tasked with. So as I mentioned before, Hexagon is who we chose. It's called On-Call Dispatch and On-Call Records. This is just a glimpse of what the CAD dispatch system looks like. I don't know how many of you have seen a CAD system. This is very visually pretty attractive for us, and it's pretty exciting for our staff. They get to try something that's not 20 years old. They get to do something that's on the cutting edge of technology, and they're excited to implement it, both on the record side and the dispatch side. So what does it mean to partner with them, and what have we already accomplished? Well, realistically, since January, we've already been able to install the hardware and the software for the system. So bringing in the server technology, getting everything in line and getting it up to speed and running. Hexagon's been able to install the software, and we've actually had our teams in there starting to build it. So that's where you see the initial system build has already been completed. That means we've put in a lot of the data that has to live in the background of this. And our teams have been working diligently to do this. We've also started configuration. So the configuration is how are we going to use this system to work for us? It's one thing to upload all this information to the system, but how is it visually going to work? How's it going to look? And is it going to do the things we're asking it to do? And so we've started that configuration on the record side. We're about to start that on the CAD side. This is exciting work, and this is a lot of resources that we put into this. I'm talking about, I believe in your staff report, you actually have an organizational chart that reflects what kind of resources not only your city has committed to this project, but both Reno and Washoe County. And we're at plus 48 people, 48 to 50 people that are getting involved and working on this all of the time. The last thing that we've done is we've started our third-party integrations. If any of you have ever sat in a dispatch center, you understand there's a lot of technology. There's 8 screens, there's a lot going on, and not only is there a CAD system that they're operating, but they're operating a phone system, a radio system. They probably have other systems that are providing other resources and information. Every one of those information systems is distracting and creates liability for the dispatch center because it's just one other thing you have to do in your process. And what we found is we're doing this because our system won't meet those needs, and so we're responsible to bring in those outside sources so that way we can meet the needs and the expectations of the citizens. Well, in this project, we said we want to bring all of those systems into one. We want to make sure that dispatchers aren't wasting time typing something in this system and then retyping it in this system, or going out to an outside system to try to bring some kind of information in. I want address information to be available to me in my CAD system. I don't want to have to go check 3 sources. So how do we get all these things to communicate? We identified over 50 interfaces, so that's 50 outside vendors that have to be contacted and work with us and Hexagon to get this accomplished. We've started that work, and it's been pretty successful so far. We're extremely excited to try to eliminate inefficiencies and really make this a better process and system for everyone. So you probably want to know why is this important? So when we go back to that regionalization meeting, you guys I apologize for saying you guys. This body, as well as the other entities, identified that we had to fix and I apologize to my 911 partners, we're not fixing a broken system, but we need to improve our system as it lives. We need a better experience for users. We need a better experience for citizens. So one of the first things we achieved was common language. How do we make sure that we're saying the same thing? How do we make sure that our communication is consistent between agencies? And this is a great part in getting REMSA onto our system. We're able to look at a cardiac event and call it the same thing. You know, we might call it a heart attack in our center. They might call it a cardiac event. We might call it chest pains. It's getting all of those things to mean the same thing. That way, when our dispatchers have to communicate from agency to agency, it's seamless, and we can improve that right away. So that's one of the first things we've done. We're also building for future. So when you see integrated responses on here, at the end of the day, our citizens don't care what the name of the side of the fire truck is that shows up on scene. They don't care about the name of the police car when they call 911. All they care about is that someone shows up and they show up quick. So even though we may not have agreements in place today, we are building the system to do as much as possible so we can go back and get those agreements in place to say what are the important things that we need to do. So we're building it as we go to say, let's look for the best and closest and most reasonable resource. I don't care what the name of it is. Let's build it that way and test it. Let's make sure it works, and let's make sure it does what we're asking it to do. Automation is a key part of this because we want to make sure that we're taking out those decision points for dispatchers. Our dispatchers have a very difficult job. And I apologize, I'm not talking about records, but records is in here as well. But our records folks and our dispatchers have very difficult jobs. And every time they have to make a decision, that's just an opportunity for them to make an inconsistent decision or to not make the right decision. And so any opportunity to automate those things is important. It also reduces delay. An example is if anybody's ever had to call 911 here, from the dispatch perspective, we're going to take the phone call. We're going to ask some key questions. We will enter a call into our own system, and then we'll transfer it to our outside partner, REMSA. Well, REMSA doesn't get that CAD call. They don't get that information that we're asking and entering. They have to then again re-ask and re-enter. In a new system where we can share information more easily, we can automate that. The first person who answers the call can enter it. That call can now be available to anybody in the system, and they can use it. So any of those opportunities for automation will greatly reduce inefficiency in the system. Regional process, we've really looked at this from a regional perspective. We've had regional partners involved since we've started implementation. We're really looking to expand and change the workflows and the way we operate, and we've tasked our teams to say, we're not just trying to replace this with something new, we are trying to create something different. And so we really ask them to look at it from not only our own agency, this is how our own agency responds, but what's the impact on another agency, and how can we look at that together, and how can we make sure that we're doing the right thing for the citizen who's requesting help or for our responders who need that help as well. Lastly, I think I've just kind of touched on all these, but information access. We're putting all the regional partners and their contract agencies onto the same system, which means the expectation that the community has, I think we can finally meet, where we say, you know, I operate an email system and everyone that I communicate can go back and forth with, or I'm on social media and I can see everything that Sparks and Reno and Washoe are doing all in one hub. Well, great. Now we can put all of that information into a CAD system, and all of our partners can see real-time live information at the same time. That means increased responder safety, increased citizen safety. We're not going to miss information because it wasn't available to somebody, but everyone will have access to it. That's the exciting part. If you didn't catch my enthusiasm, I'm trying to be excited for you guys. What we have left on the project, so you'll see September this year, we're going to continue configuration leading into the beginning of next year, which is when we get into the testing phase. And then the hard part for us is going to be summer. Summer is a busy time for us, but we've determined and identified that this project has to go live as soon as possible. So we've committed to training in the summer, which is something we usually avoid, but it's the right thing, and it's the right thing for the project. So we're going to spend a considerable amount of time training all local agencies over next summer in 2025 with a go live in September of 2025. Right now, we are committed to that. We are on schedule. We are on budget. We believe that we have all of the resources that we need to get this project done, and we're being told by our Hexagon partner that they do as well. And we feel it. We don't feel like we've had any roadblocks. So far, we've seen a lot of success in the project, and we are prepared for a go live on September 9th of 2025. So keep that date in mind. It is an exciting date for us. Our teams are happy to move forward, and I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Questions from the council?
Thank you so much for the presentation. And we have been anxiously awaiting this conversation. Goes well beyond not a year, or you said 2020. I've been here 9 years, and I know the CAD challenge that we all face of really that coordination from the three different agencies is something we knew we needed, and this is super exciting that we're finally moving in that direction. And really, for the average citizen, what I really think the most important thing, because our most important job is public safety, is the fact that when they make that call and you have an emergency, you have a heart attack, you have a loved one, that something has happened, the last thing you want to do is to have to repeat your story 3 times by the time you get through, Sparks PD or Sparks dispatch to REMSA to however many times that time for a family member is a tough one. And so making it more streamlined so it just that information is relayed quickly. And time really is the biggest difference we will see really is the response time we're able to respond to. And I think that added to other things that we're doing here in the city of Sparks, working with REMSA and with our regional partners on who responds. We don't care who responds. We want the quickest response. And then we have, additionally, I'm excited about the fact we have ambulance now, so we can transport too. So all those things, I think, at the end of the day, will just enhance our ability as a city to provide the safety and security for our residents. And thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited for next September.
We are too.
And thank you to the whole team and all the work they're doing. I appreciate it.
Mr. Anderson.
Don't have a question necessarily. I just want to say thank you for the presentation. I appreciate the update. Just last week, one of the residents of Sparks contacted me to voice their concern. They had a medical emergency and their call was transferred 4 times, trying to pin down a response. So anything we can do to lessen that, improve it, is going to be greatly appreciated by us as well as all of the citizens. And so I just want to say thank you for what you guys are doing. And 1 year, it's a long time away, but it's exciting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dare.
Yeah, I want to just say seamless is the right answer, is what we're going for. I do have a couple questions. One is the ramping on. Obviously, it's scary to think we're going to go off of something, jump on something, and it's all just going to work. So I don't know if you can give me a guarantee, but can you talk to us about that? And then the other thing is that I've always been told one of the things that Sparks is a little bit of a backup to the system. So what if technology doesn't work, which we all have computers that don't work? How do we make sure? I mean, I want this as bad as anybody. We've been all talking about this for years and years, but how do we make sure there's a backup to this? So we're all going on one system, and as you saw with our computer earlier, it just dies. So what do we do? How do we make sure? So those are 2 things in my brain.
Yeah, so I can answer a couple of those. On the first question of, how are we make sure that we're able to implement and go live without disruption, I think is what you're referring to. That is a huge consideration in the project. And there was 2 opportunities given to us. One was we can essentially select individual agencies to go live independently of each other to allow us, make sure it goes live and is sustained in one, and then move on to the next one. There's some issues with that. One is you start to break information apart from agencies, and now they do operate in isolation and become blind to each other. So we didn't really want to break what we already have in system. So we did actually elect to go with a full go live at the same time. And what it really does is it actually puts the onus on our vendor Hexagon, because by us telling them that we need to go live at the same time, it means that they need to bring more resources for that go live date. We actually were able to negotiate, and they were very willing and receptive to that, of bringing additional resources, making sure that they're there 24 hours a day, so that way if there is an impact on the system, that they can respond to it quickly and they can make sure that it's recovered before there's ever an issue. That is always a huge concern, though, when you do bring on a new system. How do you get from old system A to new system B? And the nice thing is we still host our old system. In a worst case scenario, if for whatever reason it's not working for us, we still can go back to our old system. And that's true for both the group agencies of Reno, Sparks, and Washoe, as well as it is for REMSA. So that'll always be a backup to us. We wouldn't go blindly into this and put all of our eggs in the one basket. We hope that day one it'll go live, and we're going to do a tremendous amount of testing to ensure that. But it's always a cause for concern. So realistically, it just comes down to resources. We're going to have resources dedicated to it. Hexagon has also committed the same resources. On the second part of downtime procedures, We already, or the city, you are correct in that the city of Sparks is a backup site for both Reno and Washoe, who are co-located. And Reno and Washoe are actually a backup site to city of Sparks. So we kind of back each other up as needed. I think this project will allow us to further expand that because now we will be bringing in a third partner, Remza, into the system and into the mix, which will give us more access and space for backup resources. So I'm excited for that opportunity. One, it won't leave us. We'll still be able to back each other up, and it'll just expand our opportunities for that. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you for the update. We're excited about this. This is something we've been trying to address for a long time.
Excellent.
And it's about time, and it's exciting to see that those steps are so close. I mean, a year sounds like a long time. In government, that's a very short time.
It is a short time. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to consent items. Anyone wish to pull a consent item? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson,
Move to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.8 as submitted.
Ms. Vanderwell,
Second.
got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right. General business 9.1, consideration discussion of possible approval of a community services director recommended appointment to the Sparks Enterprise Fund Advisory Committee, the EFAC, we got to have an acronym for that, from the following pool of applicants in alphabetical order. Edward Davis. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I think we know who you're going to pick.
Yes, sir. Would you like me to present or do you want to vote?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
So as you're aware, sir, Michael Drinkwater, Community Services Director, as you're aware, we have a board, the EFAC, which governs the enterprise funds for the building and planning functions for the city. Mr. Davis was a member. His term timed out. We had a little glitch with the paperwork. We advertised the opening at one of the July council meetings, the second meeting. I apologize, I've forgotten the date. He has subsequently reapplied. We're very happy to have that, and we'd love to have him remain on the commission, and we're asking for your support in that respect. So happy to answer any more questions.
Questions from the council? All right, seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare,
I move to approve the Community Services Director's recommendation to appoint Edward Davis as the Commercial Construction Representative on the Sparks Enterprise Fund Advisory Committee for a 4-year term ending July 1st, 2028.
Mr. Abbott,
Second.
got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Surprise, surprise, Michael. 9.2, consideration, discussion, of possible approval of a grant program contract AC 6059 for fiscal year 24-25 between the City of Sparks, City of Reno, and Silver State Fair Housing Council to provide fair housing outreach, community education, and increase public awareness of fair housing rights in the amount of $40,000, with the City of Sparks share being $20,000.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. I am Casey Chavla, an Administrative Analyst with your Community Services Department. I'm before you today to request approval on a Community Development Block Grant Program Agreement between the City of Sparks, City of Reno, and Silver State Fair Housing Council. What is fair housing? Well, the Federal Fair Housing Act made it illegal to discriminate on any housing-related transaction based off of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, family status, or disability. In addition, Nevada law made it illegal to discriminate based off of ancestry, sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression. Now, the Silver State Fair Housing Council is an important resource that works throughout Washoe County to provide fair housing awareness, and they do this by assisting in housing discrimination enforcement, providing community outreach, assisting tenants and housing providers with reasonable accommodation modification requests, and providing educational trainings to a variety of housing providers. Additionally, they assist in filing HUD discrimination complaints. As stated, this agreement is a joint agreement between the City of Sparks, City of Reno, and Silver State Fair Housing Council. The term would be for a 12-month length, effective July 1st, 2024, and expiring June 30th of 2025. The contract amount would be for $40,000, with City of Sparks and City of Reno's contribution being $20,000 each, and this is budgeted through CDBG funds. The contract deliverables include 3 fair housing rights trainings, 3 fair housing law trainings, two quarterly publications focusing on reasonable accommodation requests, assisting staff in promoting Fair Housing Month, which is April, and a training for City of Sparks staff, all wrapped up into quarterly reporting. Sparks staff does work with the Silver State Fair Housing Council to ensure that resources are spread across the City of Reno and City of Sparks evenly. These are a couple of fun pictures from our training this year. It included the code enforcement, planning, engineering, and building teams. And Kate Zook with Silver State put that on for us. Based off of the effective use of funding in FY 23-24, Sparks staff is recommending approval of the 24-25 contract agreement with Silver State. I've got a motion on the screen, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions from the council? Okay, seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve grant program contract AC-6059 for FY 24-25 between the City of Sparks, City of Reno, and Silver State Fair Housing Council to provide fair housing outreach, community education, and increase public awareness on fair housing rights in the amount of $40,000, with the City of Sparks share being $20,000.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. 9.3, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a grant program contract AC 6060 for fiscal year 24-25 between the City of Sparks and Eddy House to provide community development block grant funds in the amount not to exceed $86,768 to support Eddy House provisions of shelter and services to youth experiencing homelessness in the Washoe County. Casey.
Great. Again, I am Casey Chavla, an administrative analyst with your Community Services Department. I'm before you again requesting approval on a community development block grant, this time between the City of Sparks and this Eddy House. The City Council approved the CDBG Annual Action Plan for FY 24-25, which included an activity allocating $86,768 to a nonprofit that provides services and shelters to homeless youth within Washoe County. Staff is proposing to continue the partnership with Eddy House by entering into a new contract agreement that would be for the current fiscal year, effective July 1st, 2024, and expiring June 30th of 2025. If approved, the contract would require the same reporting requirements, including reporting on the goals and objectives of the programs, the number of youth served through these programs, services provided, demographics, outcomes of the youth, including job training, housing, education, and employment, as well as the financial expenditures that are billed to the grant. The Eddy House also provides a quarterly narrative that better explains the challenges and successes of their programs through that quarter. On the reporting period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th of 2024, the Eddy House served 1,005 unduplicated youth, with the gender and racial breakdowns of those youth being up on the screen. Additionally, Eddy House wanted to highlight that in that same time frame, 16,026 bed nights, 7,818 showers, and 31,187 meals were provided to homeless youth. The Eddy House provided 2 goals that they were aiming for FY 23-24. The first being to increase protective factors to ensure at-risk youth that need services are having their basic needs met and are acquiring skills to live sustainably and independently. Eddy House measured these needs and skills by tracking their community living clients, clients receiving their high school diplomas or GEDs, and clients receiving therapy. As you can see by that first graph, all of the goals for those 3 objectives were met. Goal 2 was to increase the number of successful exits from the 2 programs. With this, tracking can become difficult, as some of the youth that enters Eddy House may not provide an explanation as to where they're going once they leave. Additionally, Eddy House has noted that some of the youth may find better success taking advantage of the individual resources that the Eddy House can offer rather than entering into a very structured community living program, which may demonstrate why the successful exits on that one is slightly lower than the goal was. Eddy House has decided to slightly adjust their goals for the next fiscal year to increasing the number of bed nights by a 10% increase and increasing the total number of successful exits by 5%. That's across all programs. Along with the resources listed on the screen, Eddy House provides a safe and supportive environment to the youth experiencing homelessness within Washoe County. The positions that this agreement would assist funding directly supports the operations of finding and providing supportive services for the youth entering the Eddy House. Based off of the effective use of funding in FY 23-24, staff is recommending approval of the FY 24-25 grant program agreement. I've included a motion on the screen, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Casey first, and I'm going to bring Trevor up. You did a great job. Let me bring Trevor up and have him say a few words. How are you, sir?
I'm good today. How are you, sir?
We are enjoying supporting you.
Thank you. Trevor Macaluso, for the record, I'm the CEO of the Eddy House, and just, again, appreciate the wonderful partnership that we have with you all. And again, this is our Chief Programming Officer, Ryan Sexton, with me today as well.
Okay. Do you have anything to add to Casey's report?
Again, we're just appreciative of the support, and we're happy to dive into any of the data or questions you all might have, should you have any. One of the things that I've mentioned to you all before is we just appreciate the fact that this body is so supportive of the work that we do. You guys are leaders when it comes to the other entities that exist in our community when it comes to supporting youth homelessness, so we appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Dare.
Yeah, thank you for the tour the other day, Donald and I, and we got to go through and check it out. And we've been there before, but you guys are definitely expanding. You want to talk about that for a second? Because you have a new building opening up, and I didn't see it in the report, but I think many would be interested in what that's looking like, because that, to me, it's collaboration, but you're also seeing the need and it's growing. So instead of me telling people what that looks like, would you mind speaking about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Trevor Macaluso, again, for the record. We are in construction for a 36-unit transitional living community, is what we're calling it, the TLC, which will be 36 apartment units that are designated for our transitional housing program. This was funded in part by the Homings Nevada Initiative through the Nevada Housing Division and the William N. Pennington Foundation and another local family foundation, which will expand the number of beds that Eddy House is able to offer for transitional housing. One of the things, again, that you see in the staff report from you all is that we're seeing a great success in the number of youth trying to exit our programs. But a harsh reality that we have in our community is that rental availability to our youth is hard to come by. And as you noticed, if you noted in the first section on Casey's Silver State Fair housing report, is that age is not a protected class. And so oftentimes our youth who are attempting to find apartments are legally discriminated against because of their age. And so that's where we identified this need to create more transitional housing. So once youth that have successfully gone through our programming, or again, through assistance through our emergency shelter, it gives them some room for up to 2 years to grow in their earning capacity, pay down debt, increase their savings in order to then be set off into a much more sustainable future when they go towards independence. And so we just broke ground on that this last spring and are expecting to be open March of next year.
Very good. Mr. Anderson.
Likewise, thank you for the tour of the facility. It's just amazing to see how far you have come in a short time and the incredible work you're doing. What I was hoping that you could share a little bit on is sometimes people think that we're spending too much money helping at-risk individuals in our community. Can you share why it's so important that we're connecting with and intervening in young people's lives that are at risk?
Yeah, I would love to take that one. Ryan Sexton, CPO for Eddy House, for the record. So one of the things that is extremely important for a young person transitioning into adulthood, they are identified as transitional age youth for a reason. As they're moving into adulthood, their brains are still developing, patterns of life and habits are still developing, and they're still working on life skills to become independent. So the goal of identifying and providing specific interventions for this age group is that you head off chronic homelessness before it really develops. So that is really the entire mission of Eddy House, is to identify and triage individuals who need additional life skills development in order to become independent and hopefully avoid long-term support and investments in the future. Our goal is that we catch them when they're young and they're developing, and give them the opportunity to develop life skills that would enable, as well as workforce development skills and opportunity, that would enable them to become independent and productive citizens for the long run.
If I remember correctly, the success ratio is like in the 80 percentile, isn't it? If you're able to help them out of that point where they are?
Approaching that, yes. Yeah, there's a significant, and I don't have the data right in front of me that you are referring to, but yes, there is a significantly higher rates of success for early interventions as opposed to later interventions.
Awesome. Well, keep up the great work. Thank you.
Ms. Spivey.
Really, my question or comment was along those same lines, and really how what you're doing today for those kids, 18 to 24, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Will benefit the community as a whole, because you are stepping in and trying to ensure that those kids don't become the people we see on our streets who are chronically homeless and are now in their 40s, 50s, or 60s and have known nothing other than that. So we can be proactive by all the interventions you're doing, all the programming and skills you're doing, that we will see in the future what Eddy House has done since you guys have been in existence. I've been very familiar and a huge supporter from when you didn't even have overnight services. It was just a drop-in center to where you are now. And I think really, as you look back on all the statistics that you have from the time Eddy House has been here and moving forward, the community will see a difference, because you'll see, and I know you have success stories from all of the kids have gone through your program and where they have gone beyond that, and to really show that it's an investment that is so themselves, but to the community as a whole. And I just thank you so much for your work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Mr.
it.
Abbott.
Yeah, Trevor, thanks for the tour, definitely the other day. The only ask I have is, could you elaborate on I think it was the mobile outreach thing that you were talking about? I know you buy tons of bus passes, and that's the number one thing I remember, but if you could just tell all of us about that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Trevor Macaluso again for the record. We received a grant this last spring from a local trust, which will enable us to create a mobile drop-in center, which we plan to launch later this fall, which will alter our outreach program, where again, we are currently serving at our facility 18 to 24-year-olds. On our outreach program, this specific drop-in center that will be mobile will allow us to serve high school students, 14 to 18. And so we really feel this is important. We're noticing a trend in our data among new youth who are coming to Eddy House for services, that 37% of them are reporting to us that they were homeless before the age of 18. And so we are working with partners across both cities and the county to help identify these youth who are still students in high school, and how do we get them connected to the resources in town. And so we are shooting to launch that program hopefully in November for National Youth Homeless Awareness Month.
Okay. Well, I too have been following Eddy House for a long, long time, and when it was over there on 6th Street, I think, and now when you guys first got the building, it was just one big empty open space, and it's tremendous every time I go there, the work that you're doing, and it's showing in the fact that you're having great success. So I want to say thank you from personally, because I think what you're doing is awesome for our community. And the payoff will take a lot. It'll be 10 years, 20 years, but the payoff will help the community in the overall period. So that's impressive to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, then I'm looking for a motion to see if you'll actually give them this money. Mr. Dare.
I move to approve grant program contract AC 6060 between the City of Sparks and the Eddy House to provide community development block grant CDBG funds in an amount not to exceed $86,768 to support Eddy House's provision of shelter and services to youth experiencing homelessness in Washoe County.
Mr. Anderson.
I will second the motion.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, 10.1, public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of resolution number 3450, authorizing the transfer of 50% or $3,504,631.08 of the city's 2024 private activity bond capacity allocation of $7,009,262.17 to the Nevada Housing Division to be used towards affordable housing programs.
Amy, sorry, my computer screen just went blank.
No problem.
I pushed the wrong button.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of council. For the record, my name is Amy Jones, Housing Specialist. Mayor Lawson, I would like to request to present items 10.1 and 10.2 together.
Yes.
I am before you today to recommend the transfer of the city's 2024 annual allocation of private activity bond cap. The city's annual allocation of private activity bond cap for 2024 is $7,009,262.17. Private activity bonds are tax-exempt bonds issued by the state to provide financing benefits for qualified programs and projects. The city has the opportunity to transfer a portion or all of the annual allocations to programs that benefit City of Sparks residents. If the city chooses not to transfer the 2024 allocation of private activity bond cap by August 31st of this year, the bonds will revert back to the state of Nevada, and the state will have will determine how those bonds will be distributed throughout the state. In past years, the city has received requests from the Nevada Housing Division and the Nevada Rural Housing Authority for their respective homeownership programs and affordable multifamily housing projects. This year, the Nevada Rural Housing Authority submitted a request requesting $3,504,631.09, or 50% of the city's private activity bond cap. The Nevada Housing Division submitted a letter requesting any unused private activity bond cap be transferred to the division to be used for their homeownership programs and their affordable housing multifamily rental projects. Based on the Nevada Rural Housing Authority's request, the remaining bond cap available to be transferred to the Nevada Housing Division is $3,504,631.08 in bond cap. The Nevada Housing Division's Home is Possible home buyer programs target low to moderate income households. The Home is Possible for Heroes assists veterans and military families by offering below market interest rates to reduce monthly mortgage payments. The Home is Possible for Teachers helps support, recruit, and retain teachers by offering below market interest rates and a $7,500 down payment assistance. And the Home is Possible homeownership program assists low and moderate income first-time home buyers in purchasing a home by providing down payment assistance and closing costs. In the past 8 years, through the Nevada Housing Division's Home is Possible program, 799 City of Sparks residents have had the opportunity to purchase a home. Additionally, the Nevada Housing Division has supported the development of affordable multifamily rental housing throughout Washoe County. And in the past 5 years, 3,751 affordable housing units have been built utilizing private activity bonds. Nevada Rural Housing provides affordable housing programs throughout the rural communities in the state of Nevada. The programs include rental assistance, weatherization, home repair, home ownership programs, and the development and management of affordable housing. Nevada Rural uses private activity bonds to support their financing of their homeownership program, the Home at Last program. Home at Last provides home buyers with down payment assistance to cover all or a portion of the down payment required by the loan, as well as may also be used to cover any closing costs. The Home at Last program can be paired with the Nevada Rural Housing Mortgage Credit Certificate Program to provide additional housing financing and options to support homeownership. Over the past 18 years, the partnership between the City of Sparks and Nevada Rural Housing has resulted in the transfer of $32 million in private activity bond cap, providing for $532 million in mortgages to 2,309 City of Sparks residents, $10.5 million in estimated federal tax savings, and $15.2 million in down payment assistance. Both agencies provide affordable housing resources to the residents of City of Sparks and Washoe County. Staff is recommending the two separate motions listed on the screen to transfer the city's private activity bond cap to each of the agencies as requested. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Okay, then let's go back to 10.1. Do we need to read it again? Since we read it?
And it is a
Mr. Mayor,
public.
Thank you. I put it right there so I'd have it too.
He's
But
got it in his hand.
yeah, Dion, this is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to speak at this time? Okay, we bring it back to the dais and we'll, 10.1, looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott,
Move to approve resolution number 3450, authorizing the transfer of $3,504,631.08 from the city's 2024 private activity bond capacity allocation to the Nevada Housing Division to be used toward affordable housing programs.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Move on to 10.2. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time on 10.2?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
this one we will need to read into the record.
Okay. Well, let's read it and then I'll public hearing it.
Absolutely. This is public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of resolution number 3451, authorizing the transfer of 50% or $3,504,631.09 of the city's 2024 private activity bond capacity allocation of $7,009,262.17 to the Nevada Rural Housing Authority to be used towards affordable housing programs.
Okay, public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak? Still? Nobody? Bring it back to the dais. Looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve resolution number 3451, authorizing the transfer of $3,504,631.09 from the city's 2024 private activity bond capacity allocation to the Nevada Rural Housing Authority to be used towards affordable housing programs.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. A public hearing? Yes. I have a brain freeze on public hearings. I don't know why. Okay. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 10.3. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a bill draft request to amend Nevada law to authorize Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County to establish a demonstration project for a toll road regarding the La Posada Drive to USA Parkway Connection Project. Enter into one or more public-private partnerships to design, construct, develop, finance, operate, or maintain the demonstration project, and issue certain bonds or notes to finance the demonstration project, and direction to the city manager to draft and submit potential bill language.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and City Council members. For the record, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. As Madam Clerk just said in so many words, I am seeking your approval of a bill draft request, or BDR, regarding toll roads to submit to the Legislative Council Bureau, or LCB, for the Nevada Legislature in advance of the 2025 legislative session. Sparks is allocated one BDR per session. BDRs must be approved by City Council at a public hearing and submitted to LCB by September 1. Under Nevada law, toll roads are generally not allowed, but in 2011, the Nevada legislature passed Senate Bill, or SB 506, which authorized the construction of the Boulder City Bypass Road as a toll road demonstration project. Like SB 506, this proposed BDR would amend Nevada law to authorize the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, or RTC, to establish a demonstration toll road project connecting La Posada Drive with USA Parkway. If constructed, this connector road would provide more efficient access between Tahoe Reno Industrial Center and the Spanish Springs area, alleviating congestion on Pyramid and I-80. The BDR would be permissive rather than mandatory, meaning that RTC would be able to construct the project as a toll road, but would not be required to do so. Staff recommends that City Council approve the BDR and direct the city manager to draft potential bill language to help LCB move this through the process more quickly. As a reminder, a public hearing is required, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Start with questions from the council. Mr. Dare?
The way this works, is this a thing where we go through once, or does this have to happen twice? You know, some of the bills that go through require it ends up being two settings.
This would be one session.
Okay, thank you. And I just have to say, I think it's a great idea. I think it's one of the ways, it's hard to consider how we're going to get through building something there, but I think a toll road is very creative, and I appreciate staff working on this.
Thank you.
Mr. Anderson?
So you mentioned another project that was approved, the Boulder City Bypass, I believe?
Yes.
So tell me about that. Did that actually go through? Did they test it? How did that project work?
The legislation was passed, but the road was not ultimately built as a toll road.
Okay, thank you.
It's because they got federal funding to
Yes.
do the bypass.
So they didn't need tolls
Yes.
as a financing mechanism.
Ms. Bybee?
Maybe. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Allison, this would go as R1 BDR for the city of Sparks, which I fully support. Something that gives us an innovative way to possibly construct a much-needed road. I don't think there's any argument or discussion that we need that connector. But so if it goes through the legislature, it's up to the legislature to pass that. This isn't an item that would need to go to the voters and be on the ballot. This would be decided by the legislature. They could approve this and we could move forward from there.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, this is a public hearing. I do have one public comment from Francisco Vega.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. For the record, Francisco Vega, Director of the Air Quality Management Division for Northern Nevada Public Health. I just want to start by, communicating my sympathy and understanding for the tremendous challenges that, the city of Sparks faces on a daily basis. And I'm not sitting here to pretend to have all the answers. But from the air quality perspective, we are kind of at a tipping point. We are at the limit for ozone pollution, which transportation is the largest source of emissions kind of contributing to that issue. With that said, more than anything, what I really want to communicate to this board is that myself and my team are a resource at your disposal, and we really welcome the opportunity to work together to find solutions that best fit the needs of City of Sparks, the region, and possibly mitigate any kind of environmental air quality issues. So thank you for your time, and again, if you ever need anything, please reach out.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else, public wish to speak on this item? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the dais, and I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare,
I'll go.
please.
I move to approve the bill draft request to amend Nevada law to authorize Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County to establish a demonstration project for a toll road regarding the La Posada Drive to USA Parkway Connection Project. Enter into one or more public-private partnerships to design, construct, develop, finance, operate, or maintain the demonstration project, and issue certain bonds or notes to finance the demonstration project, and direction to the city manager to draft and submit potential bill language. Thank you.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now the hard work begins. All right, let's move on to, we have no planning and zoning public hearings. And comments from the public. Anyone in the public wishing to comment? Seeing none. Announcements from the mayor, city council, city manager. Mr. Manager, you have anything
None for us, Mayor. Thank you.
from the council?
I do have one.
Mr. Dare?
I want to invite anybody to Thursday night, if they get there at 8 o'clock, at the memorial. There is a concert that is free to anybody who wants to come to that. It's at the memorial. David Hayes will be singing, and we'll have national anthem, and then we actually have a drone show that will actually have sparks in the sky and a few other cool things. But it's a military-themed drone show, and people can come watch it and enjoy. So please consider coming on out, and it'll be an awesome time this Thursday night.
Good. Anybody else? All right. Well, we're off to my favorite subject. We're adjourned.